Right, so we've got certain physical things here. I'm taller, but I'm heavier, so I'm sinking more. The things we do for sport.
Welcome to episode 3 of Out Fishing. I am once again sitting beside a river, this time in northern England, and watching some men and women scream at this wall while they're trying to climb it, and some fish still rising in this pool in front of us. We've just finished 2 really good fishing and filming days here in Derbyshire on the Wye and the Derwent. So we're fishing for brown trout and wild rainbows, which are fairly rare in the UK. We're in the north of England on the River Wye with Mr. Don Stazicker, who is a complete trout nerd, would you say? Is that with respect?
I think that's a fair description, yeah. I wouldn't be offended by that.
Okay, good. He has been writing a bit for the new Loop magazine along with books in the past, which I have read, and now I get to fish with him. We are going to fish some terrestrials, maybe some other flies. What do you think might be on the menu, Don?
We had a cold start to the season, but with this warming up, we'll probably see some beetles falling off the trees. We have alder beetles and heather beetles around here at the moment, which are about a size 16, 18. Okay. And a little simple foam beetle pattern fished in the right place will do the job.
Nice. What's sort of the range of sizes of fish up here, Don?
As you get further up, the watercourse becomes a bit smaller. There are still big fish up here, but there's a head of smaller, wilder fish.
There's a fish, right in the middle there.
Yeah.
Just a wee one, is it?
Yeah, and in terms of, yeah, well spotted. Absolute size, biggest brown I've had out of here was 7.5.
Okay.
Biggest rainbow was 5.5.
Wow.
That probably wasn't a wild one. Biggest wild one I'd guess probably went about 3.
Yeah, but that's
and that
good.
was an awesome fish.
Yeah.
Right over by the log, just where it's at its lowest.
And have you got any separate tactics if you're fishing downstream?
Right, well, this is pretty even flow, so I'm not too concerned. If I drop it there and it's there, it's probably going to pop up and take it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But you can see now the current's pulling it back towards us.
Yeah.
So normally what I'd do if I hadn't got trees, I'd be pop it high and drop it with a little bit of slack. The other thing you can do is cast across and then pull it back towards you to get it into the lane of the fish, and then just give it the rod.
Okay.
To give it some slack. So if I roll cast it high, you can see I've got some slack there in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not gone near the fish at the moment. So that'll drift for quite a way before it drags. So if I do one above the log like that, follow it down with the rod so I'm not anchoring the other end, that'll extend the drift a little bit. If you do your normal roll cast, you'll straighten it like that.
Yeah, you don't want that in this instance.
If you stop it earlier, you can make it as curly as you want.
So it's like purposeful bad cast.
Yeah.
For good.
Well, funny you should say that. I had a gentleman who asked me to guide him, and what he wanted me to do was to fish, and he was going to film me.
Yeah.
And after a while, I caught 1 or 2 fish, and he said, "You're not casting a very straight line, Don." I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "Are you doing that on purpose?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Oh, I just thought you were a crap caster." So yeah, just.
Oh.
So I'm going to power this one out a bit more because I want it to be more accurate. Let's get it upstream a bit to allow for the wind.
Nice, that's exactly where we saw that fish.
That went pretty close. One interesting thing is when you've made a cast near an obstruction, lock the line off under your rod hand, because guess what? If it went in that position, it'll go in that position again. And you see people shooting line, which introduces a variable, and you're going to end up on the log. But as I do that now, I know that if I start from the same position each time, I'm going to drop it right by the log every single time. I wish I'd learned that early on. It took me a long while to work that out. The number of times you see people retrieving line and shooting it.
Yeah.
So that's dropping 6 inches away from the log every single time I do it. And he's obviously moved somewhere because that would have come up for that by now. I mean, that's on the head of the fish there.
Oh. Nice.
Little wild one. There's a brownie. Oh, beautiful. Wow, that wanted to eat the fly. And this is where you're really, really glad you've got your forceps.
Lovely.
Off he goes to go a bit bigger.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, with fish like that, that'd taken it centimetre into the mouth. And you see people trying to put the finger and thumb in to unhook fish like that, you're going to damage its jaws.
Yeah.
They can't open that wide. If they're deeper than that, I would have no hesitation whatsoever in cutting the line and sacrificing the fly, because that fish will almost certainly eject that. They've done some studies in the States that show they do get rid of them.
Okay.
And you're going to do far more harm thrusting and jamming
Yeah.
around in the gills. Definitely shouldn't do that.
Nice. There's a hawthorn here.
Oh yeah, excellent. Big one that.
Doesn't look like it's in the best happiness.
That's a good big fly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell you what, hold that there because I've got an artificial. Let's see how close
Okay.
my artificial is in size.
Yeah, if your one would wriggle, then it would look the exact same.
Yeah, so Loop 7X, 8'8" 3-weight, and I'm using a 3-weight Rio Gold fly line on it. The leader I've got is a 9-foot leader tapered to 4X, which is about 6 pounds. Little tippet ring on the end, and then I've got about 2.5 feet of tippet. So probably about 11.5 feet overall.
And talk, what's at the end of your fly line?
Well, lots of fly lines come with preformed loops, and usually what happens is that they eventually fracture where the loop meets the fly line, because obviously it's doubled over and there's a bit of a hinge. So all I've got on here is a piece of 20-pound nylon. It's needle knotted into the end of the fly line. So you push a needle up the core
Yeah.
and then knot on. A little perfection loop on the end. So that basically gives me a loop-to-loop setup so I can change leaders quickly and easily. And I'll quite often change the leader if I want something to generate more slack. I might go to a tapered leader that's got a thinner butt section,
Okay.
because what that'll do, it'll not transfer as much power through to the fly.
Yeah.
Some modern leaders turn over incredibly well, a bit too well actually for a lot of situations. I spoke to one of the manufacturers about this and he said, yeah, we know they turn over too well, but if we don't make them do that, people don't buy them. They bring them back. What you might have thought of when you were learning to cast as a poor cast that doesn't straighten, that has a few wriggles in, is exactly what you want for dry fly fishing. You don't want it bolt straight, because if I cast across this current with a straight line, drag is going to be instantaneous. And you've probably seen a lot of very clever casts, reach casts, curve casts, wriggle casts, which put slack in the fly line, but very often they pull the leader straight. And the problem then is where you need the slack is by the fly, because if you've got two currents only a foot apart,
Yeah.
you've got to have the slack right by the fly. It's no good 20 feet back in the fly line. I do use reach casts and curve casts, but by and large I tend to make my leader so that I can cast it pretty straight and it will land with some slack.
Yeah.
And you can do that with any tapered leader. All you do is just keep making the tippet longer. There will obviously
Yeah.
come a point when you can't straighten it.
Yeah.
And if it all falls back on itself, you've obviously got too much. But if it lands out straight, just try adding a little bit more to it. That's probably the one to cast to.
Okay.
It's usually something decent lies there. There's more flow over that side.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a little bit of foam and debris over there. You've
Yeah.
got some here, but there's sort of two main channels of food in this. There's not much happening here.
No.
So where you see the debris and the foam is where I would choose to go. And what a surprise, most of the rises we're seeing are in that line.
On that side, yeah.
So there may not be anything falling off the log. There can be. It might just be that that's terrific cover.
Yeah.
You know, if a predator comes by straight under the log and you're fine. The other issue is that being close to the log, due to friction, the water speed will be a bit slower. So you can sit there, you've got the food
Okay.
coming. People generally know about the water being slower at the bottom of the river, but they forget it works at the sides as well.
Yeah.
And so sitting next to something is a really good way of saving energy. And when you've got a food lane as well, ticks all the boxes.
The perfect storm for a happy trout.
Bit short, but not that short. Nice thing about these large arbor reels is you can get onto the reel quickly. And I know a lot of people play fish by hand, but I just think it's one less thing to have to worry about.
Yeah.
If you've got it on the reel. That certainly wanted to eat the beetle.
Yeah. Nice red on the edge of the fins.
That's just magnificent.
Lovely.
Beautiful on the adipose fin as well.
So a bit more open up here, Don. Well, this little section anyway.
For a little while, yeah, then it closes in even more.
Nice. He's in the weeds.
So that one's not quite so bright, look.
Lovely. Nice. Okay. Well, that was one rise, one cast, one fish.
That'll do.
But I only have one terrestrial in the box.
What?
See what Don makes of it. I don't think it looks horrendous. I don't know whether it floats is the only thing.
So is this a question of your fly tying or my tact?
Well,
Yes, great.
it has some foam. It's probably a bit anti, really.
That'll work. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll give it a go with that.
So we've seen a couple of fish in this nice little run here. Ali's just going to have a go for them.
It's worth just covering close in first, is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, float it in close to the tree. Yeah, you're right, there's one or two olives coming off. We'll try the beetle because that's been working, but if that doesn't function, we'll switch to an olive.
Okay.
Nice little concentration of food over on that side. A little bit of extra depth to give the fish cover.
So I just want to be a touch further out, I think.
Yeah, just in that main flow. But then as you work your way up, if you have a look, there's a seam comes off that rock that's sticking out of the water.
Okay.
Over to the right.
Yeah.
Fish that bit. Oh, there you go. That's about where you want to be, I guess.
It's funny because it's so clear, but we see the fish coming up, but you can't see them in the water.
No, there are times early in the season when you swear there was nothing in here.
Yeah.
And come mayfly time, you think, where have they all been? That's good. Yep. Nice. Better fish.
Nice. Stick him in the net.
Nice one.
Thank you. Lovely. And the hook's out. Perfect.
Now, if you look at that, you'll see that one has got less spots.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's the native stock for this river.
Okay, the original.
The original. And the ones we caught earlier are probably, they're wild fish, but they're from stocked fish in the past.
Okay.
Back when stocked fish could breed before we went to triploids.
Nice. So it's got a nice dot on his cheek.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you, fish. So we've put on a little olive. What specifically is this, Don?
It's a CDC sparkle dun. So it's basically got a little shuck on the back,
Yeah.
a little dub body and a small CDC tuft wing.
Okay.
Works quite well for most of these kind of things. It's an emerger really rather than a dun pattern.
And we've seen a few olives and we saw a fish eat an olive. So now we give him or her an olive.
Seems logical to me, Mr. Spock.
In this same zone, you think?
Yeah, I think so. And it's amazing really for a little fly with a bit of CDC on how visible it is.
Yeah. What size is this?
That is probably an 18.
18. Was that one?
Generally on here we get big flies at the start of the season, things like large dark olives, which can be a 14. Get them again at the end of the season in sort of September, October. And then in the middle of the year, very small flies, quite often down to 20s, 22s.
Wow.
And most people who rock up open the fly box and say, what should I use? And you go, it's all too big.
I think I want to get in that current. Oh, there's one coming down the top there. I saw a fish go for that.
Yeah, just I'd step a bit closer.
Okay.
You just minimise the drag a bit. Yeah, that's the prime zone along there. That's nice.
Whoa, he's away.
Long line release. Wrong, mate. Sorry about that.
No bother. Oh, it's a rainbow. Yeah, wee rainbow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it rainbow trout?
Yeah.
So this river's pretty unique. These are wild rainbow trout here.
So there's the fly out.
Wow, can you see it, Harper? Can you see the colours?
So when you have a look, you'll see it's like got little fingerprints along the side of it, little grey fingerprints. Those are called paw marks, and those will disappear as it gets older.
Wow.
But you won't see that in any other river in Britain pretty well.
It nearly fits through the net.
Do you want to just lift it up to the camera? So wild Derbyshire rainbow.
My friend.
Wow.
All the time.
Thank you. We have been fishing a beetle this morning, but there's been some olives coming off, so we swapped to a little CDC sparkle done while that was going on, and we had a few fish take that, including a little wild rainbow, which is one of maybe the rarest fish in the UK, because there's millions of rainbow trout, but this is one of the only systems with wild self-propagating rainbow trout, so that was really special. Right, do not catch the tree.
So we've got a little beadhead perdigon on here beneath an indicator. Water's pretty deep, pretty fast.
Let's just get one that way, one out, and go that way.
Alan's using the water cast there, loading it up.
Ah,
Fish?
yeah.
That'll teach you.
That went so slow that I thought it was on. I thought it was stuck on the bottom.
That's my favourite trick. Feel for it and think, ah, damn.
That was so just a slow.
I thought it was the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
There must be a few in there.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
It's better fish, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you think this will be a rainbow?
Don't know. Could be either in here.
I think it's
Yeah,
not.
it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's a.
Oh no, brownie.
Wow. Was that a stocky?
Yeah, it is
Okay.
actually. Nice one though.
Yeah, but it's you wouldn't tell that it's in good nick, isn't it?
Well, when I say it's a stockfish, it might be a fish that's bred from fish stocked a long time ago. That's what I
Okay.
meant about having two patterns. Because
okay, yeah, this one's.
if
not
it is
got
a
the
stockfish,
single
it's
red.
very fit, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, the fins
Yeah,
are good.
I don't think that is. I think that's a feral one, if you like.
Nice, thank you. I would like one to go on the left of this big rock.
Yeah.
There we are.
Good-o. Fish on. Oh, better fish.
The rainbow. Boy. Ah, but it's a nice fish.
Yeah.
And I know it's like not a wild fish, but they're not like a.
I would say that's an overwintered one.
Yeah, it's
Got a good tail on it.
Okay.
Nice. Nice fish.
Thank you. Fish.
Well, we're on the Derbyshire Derwent here, one of the rivers in the Peak District that I fish. What I've been doing in more recent time, last 10 years, been doing underwater video, slow motion and drone stuff, basically to look at how trout feed and how they interact with flies, both natural and artificial. That's resulted in a couple of books that I've co-authored with Peter Hayes, a very experienced angler. A book called Trout and Flies Getting Closer, another one was The Flies That Trout Prefer. And they look at things. We've put video clips in the book so that you can actually look at the footage we've filmed rather than just saying we think this happens. You can actually look at those clips and decide.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's really important because it's so easy to be dogmatic about these things. We think this, well, what proof has the reader got?
Okay, yeah.
But if you can look at the video, you think, you know what, that's probably right.
Yeah, and you're also writing a bit for The Take magazine, Loop's new online magazine.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Got the opportunity to do that. So the first article I've done has been along the lines of what we've done in the books, which is about the vulnerability of flies.
Yeah.
And that perhaps you might want to design flies not to impress your mates at the fly tying bench, but to look like they can't get away. Because trout, like any predator, they're not going to go for the alpha male wildebeest at the head of the herd, are they? They're going to take the poor little one at the back limping along. And if your fly looks like it's going to fly away, and there's a natural next to it that's flat in the surface, looks vulnerable, preferentially that's probably going to be taken. So sadly, if you looked in my fly box, it'd look like a bit of a train wreck. Most of the flies look a bit battered because that's what the naturals look like that trout eat.
Yeah, but I think you learn. I remember when I was young fishing a fly, and then you have a few fish on it and it gets battered, and you think, oh, it doesn't look so nice, and then they're still going for it, and they're like, wow, this really works. And
I think many people who fished regularly have had that experience. So my question would be, why didn't you tie it like that in the first place?
Yeah. Don we just rose a fish to the beetle, but we've just found a little bit of a faster run. So I'm going to go in with the Trout nymphing rod. This is the same one as we used in the first episode with Luke. So I've just got 2 little nymphs on, and we'll give it a go. And you think, Don, it's just worth starting at the tail and working my way up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Fish the width of it as well. There's some quite nice channels across there.
It's not super deep, is it?
No, it's not as deep as you think. Deepens up a little bit, another 15 feet up.
Okay.
And then just across into that, yeah, maybe a foot or 2 further than that's perhaps a little bit deeper there.
Yeah.
I think with that coloured water, it fools you a bit sometimes. You tend to think it's mysterious depths.
I feel that ticking along. There's a fish. Oh. That's not a fish.
Tidying the river up.
I'm glad it was not a fish, otherwise it'd be in a tree. Yeah, I feel the point fly ticking along the bottom. And this time I've got the 2-weight tip on, so it's the little sensitive one. Oh, that's a bit...
Yeah, because this rod's got 2 tips.
Yeah.
With it. That's right.
Yeah, and when I was filming with Luke, we used the 3-weight tip. I think just because we were fishing some big shot and bigger fish.
That's drifting nicely though, isn't it?
Yeah. I really like the black and white indicator.
Yeah, that's very clear.
Sometimes, oh, there's a fish.
Nice.
Sometimes the yellow disappears, but black and white.
It's a grayling, isn't it?
Yeah. Are they out of season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just need to be careful, bit of minimal handling. So take the dropper.
I think he's unhooked himself. Perfect. Get him back. Thank you, grayling. Sorry to disturb you.
Somebody told me a really strange thing, or I think I read it. If they're struggling, face them and blow on the face.
Okay.
And they stop struggling. I've not tried it yet. I mean, you could get some funny looks. You know.
That's how you wind a dog up, isn't it? So.
Well, shortly before it bites you. Yeah, great. Okay.
So we've got a longer leader just to hold it all off the water.
That's the theory. Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Well, now we know where they are.
But you didn't feel him?
Not at all.
Okay.
Just came as I lifted off.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely no contact.
We're high sticking a dry fly. And that fish turned to take that. Was it down?
I think it came charging up as I was lifting it off.
Okay, yeah. Just a really good way to fish across a seam, so that if your fly line was touching this fast water, it would just rip that fly straight in.
It's not perfect even so, because the currents are all over the place over there.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it came to it because it was dragging.
I thought that, like, thought it was escaping.
The trouble is it's on such a tight line.
Yeah.
Better?
Nice. So aggressive.
Yeah. We're gonna get his lunch get away, was he? Oh, nice fish.
Very nice.
Not big, but a nice wild one. Beautiful tail.
Lovely. Nice. Cool.
Excellent.
The high stick success.
High stick dry fly here. That'll do. Fancy a bit of pie?
Yeah, I do. I'm just going to grab a rock, as is tradition. A few bits and bobs. Oh, that nymph on the backside there.
Olive upright or large brook dun. It's dark on that. Big wing
Yeah.
cases on it, so I would say that's pretty close to emergence.
Okay.
That might be what we've been seeing hatch off.
All right. Wow.
That's a good old big nymph, that. That's
Yeah.
about 14. Oh, wow.
Wow.
On the bottom, whopping great signal crayfish
Wow.
here, look.
That's like a lobster.
Yep.
Are they invasive?
Yeah, they are. That's a big boy.
What is this, a signal crayfish?
Yep. Yeah.
Big pincers, it's going to snap my net.
So these are invasive. They're brought into Britain for the food trade and they got into rivers. And the problem is they don't outcompete the native white-clawed crayfish like red squirrels, grey squirrels. They actually carry a plague that once you have these in the river, it kills the natives. And there are thousands of these in here. This is one of the reasons why some of the brown trout are pretty big, I suspect.
Okay. We are moving back to the River Wye, and as we saw, we had some invasive crayfish in the Derwent, and we do not wish to aid the invasion, so we'll dip our boots and waders into... What do we dip them into, Don?
We're going to put them into hot water.
Okay.
A lot of people use sprays like Virkon to kill things off, and there are some invasive things that won't kill. It's good at killing bacteria and viruses.
Yeah.
But some of the invertebrate species and vertebrate species, it wouldn't kill off. So what we're going to do, we're going to use hot water from the tap. Anything over 43 degrees will kill things like the killer shrimp.
Okay.
So this is an effective method. It's been tested and it does work.
Okay, because I was going to ask, what if people don't have chemicals at home, what can they do? But you don't actually need chemicals.
The hot water thing works absolutely fine. So what we're going to do is wash off the sort of gross material off the boots. We're going to do boots, waders, nets, anything that's been in contact with the water. But all waders have got nooks and crannies like here. You can see how much debris is in that.
Yeah.
And that will remain damp for a very long time, even when the outside of the boot appears to be apparently dry. The crayfish that we filmed, they eat caddis larvae, they eat all sorts of things, fish eggs.
Yeah.
You don't want them in your river. And so anything you can do to stop the spread has got to be a good idea. But this is quick and easy. It's just rinse off the gross material. It's really important not to do this near a water drain, because it's quite likely that your drains drain into your local water course. So if you're washing this stuff off, all you're doing is actually spreading it rather than stopping the spread. You know, the protocol is check, clean and dry. You can't check for something you can't see.
Yeah.
You know, they're so tiny. You've got to do this each time you change river. Things like your nets, you might think with a plastic net like this it's not a problem, but look, I've actually brought some weed home with me, not on purpose.
We will eradicate.
So we'll wash those bits off. You know, you'll often get material on the neoprene parts, all these little nooks and crannies, so you've got to submerge it, make sure that gets totally wet. Obviously, unless you've fallen in, the inside won't be contaminated, so you're not...
The inside of mine is contaminated, but not from the river.
Yeah.
Also now we get nice warm toes when we put our boots on.
Yep. So that's amply warm enough at 56. 43 would do it. And then all you're doing really is making sure that that water gets into contact with all the surfaces. At this temperature, just contact with it will kill the organism.
Okay, get these in.
But what I'll do, I'll decant it out so you can see just how much stuff we've got in here.
But the hot water will have boiled anything or killed anything
Yeah.
that was...
But look how much
Attention.
stuff we've got off
yeah.
just those boots.
Yeah. Cool. Lots of gunk. We are back on the Wye. We've washed our waders and boots and nets, and Don's taken us a bit of bushwhacking up to a kind of deep canyon pool. I'm in the way.
One just off the rock here, Ali. Oh yeah, fish everywhere.
That was nice. Oh, did you see the big fish follow that then, Don?
Yeah?
A trout came and nudged that at the edge then. A bigger trout.
We're definitely not allowed live bait.
But that was a nice fish came in at the side. I wonder if the camera will have seen that. I doubt it, but nice.
Ah, that's a good idea. We can send you first. Do you reckon it's doable?
It feels soft. There are some sticks you can get your feet on to kind of
Right,
like snowshoes, swamp shoes.
right. So we've got certain physical things here. I'm taller, but I'm heavier, so I'm sinking more.
Nice.
Try and keep it up over the log.
He's over the log. Nice fish.
Better fish.
Don.
The things we do for sport. Oh, that's a better fish.
Lovely. Nice Don. Well done. We have just finished filming and fishing for a few days, so thank you very much, Don, for showing me the ways of the Wye and the secrets of the beetle.
Absolute pleasure. It's just such a beautiful river. It's just lovely to share it with people.
Well, thank you very much. If people want to learn more about Don, I would definitely recommend looking into some of his books, which we'll put links on. If someone wants to get in contact with you, Don, how could they do that?
It's dead simple, don@stazicker.co.uk.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.